Good afternoon. Welcome to the fourth in the Bach's Lunch Concert Organ Recital series. We missed a performance last month due to the weather issues, but we are here today on a gorgeous, sunny, beautiful afternoon, and we do appreciate your attendance. Also, the generous, very generous donations that you have continued to make toward the renovation and revitalization of the Steiner Reck Opus 100 organ. It has just had some loving attention yesterday, so it's sounding very nice today. I think you'll enjoy it. So Chris and Alice and I are playing some favorites today, some Bach, some not. The first piece that you're going to hear this afternoon, is the Jacques Lemans Fanfare, and this is in D major. Lemans was a Belgian organist and composer whose work, the Fanfare in D major, which we hear first, remains one of the most enduring pieces in organ repertoire. The fanfare is characterized by its bright, energetic, and joyful nature, making it a staple for celebratory occasions. Excuse me. It primarily utilizes rhythmic call and response patterns that mimic brass fanfares. Traditional organ performances often employ bright reed stops, such as trumpets or clarions, to emphasize the fanfare quality, contrasted with flute stops for lighter sections. The piece also features prominent and independent pedal line, which was a hallmark of Lemans' teaching and his influence on future organ masters like Alexandre Guillemot and Charles-Marie Widor. This piece was originally published as part of École d'Orgue, which is a landmark pedagogical work intended to establish a more rigorous technique for organists, particularly regarding legato playing and independent pedal work. While it was a favorite in Lemans' own concert recitals during the 19th century, today it is most frequently played as a wedding, recessional, or a celebratory postlude. Due to its popularity, the piece has then also been arranged for flute choir, brass quintet, and simplified piano organ versions in C major. Second piece I plan to play for you this afternoon, the Prelude and Fugue in B-flat major, which is the eighth and final piece in a collection known as 8 Short Preludes and Fugues. Long attributed to Johann Sebastian Bach, modern scholarship generally considers it the work of one of his pupils, most likely Johann Ludwig Krebs or Johann Tobias Krebs. While no longer definitively assigned to Bach, the piece remains a staple for organ students due to its clear structure and pedagogical value. It is often described as having a brilliant character with similarities to Bach's unauthenticated works in its opening flourishes and imitative fugue style. The prelude is noted for its virtuosic pedal solo and an opening flourish that establishes the B-flat major key. Structurally, it features a repetition of its second half, a trait shared with other pieces in this set of 8. The fugue opens with a 6-measure subject. It is characterized by imitative writing that appears to be technically challenging but is widely regarded as one of the most accessible in the cycle for mastering Baroque organ technique. Performers typically use articulate legato or ordinary touch, leaving small spaces between notes to ensure clarity in the inner voices and a cantabile singing manner. In my stylistic interpretation of this today, I'm doing a little twist on that articulation, and if performed as I intend it to be performed, you will hear the groupings of 4/16 notes played da-ya-da-da-da-ya-da-da-da-ya-da-da instead of da-da-da-da. So listen for the little slurs on the first two. Enjoy.
Good afternoon. I'm Chris Mickelson, a former organist of St. Mark's. And I was thinking today, this concert is really in classic sonata form, and I'm the middle slow movement. Or if you think of a sandwich, I'm the filling between two slices of hearty bread. Anyway, I'm going to be playing things that are a little understated, contemplative, meditative. You might want to pray or even snooze if you feel so inclined. These are some of my favorite pieces from the Orgelbüchlein by Bach. One reason we read our notes is for the benefit of those who are online, and they're right over there. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. The Orgelbüchlein is a little organ book of 46 chorale preludes by Johann Sebastian Bach. Bach intended to write 164 of these to be based on hymns related to the liturgical year of the Lutheran Church, in Germany called the Evangelical Church. One tale tells of Bach composing these while in custody. The Duke of Weimar, Johann Ernst III, was not willing to let Bach go when he sought to leave for a new post in the court of Prince Leopold, a Calvinist, in Köthen. The following record is witness of the circumstances. Quote, on November 6th, this would be 1717, the quondam, or former concertmaster, was confined to the county judge's place of detention for too stubbornly forcing the issue of his dismissal, and finally on December 2nd was freed from arrest with notice of his unfavorable discharge. The preludes may have been composed while he served jail time, but more likely over his years in Weimar from 1708 to 1717, and some may have been written during the Köthen period, which followed from 1717 to 1723, prior to when he went to his last post in Leipzig. Each is a little gem, beautifully crafted, and for so young an artist, displays unusual sensitivity both to the music of the chorale, which is the music, the tune, and the words of the hymn. Bach's chief purpose in writing these was instruction, as stated in his introduction to the collection. To quote, little organ book in which a beginning organist receives given instruction as to performing a chorale in a multitude of ways while achieving mastery of the pedal, since in the chorales contained herein, the pedal is treated entirely obbligato, meaning obligatory. And then he ends with this little rhyme, in honor of the Lord alone, that my fellow man his skills may hone. And then he closes, composed by Johann Sebastian Bach, Kapellmeister of His Serene Highness, the Prince of Anhalt-Köthen. A student of Bach attests his deep faith, clear theological thinking, and sensitivity to and love for the hymns of the Lutheran Church, which he would have heard and sung throughout his life from childhood. These preludes are songs without words, but they do have words, which are clearly articulated in each turn of phrase applied by the composer's pen. His student, Johann Gotthilf Ziegler, stated that Bach taught him to play chorales, quote, according to the sense or affect of the words, end quote, emphasizing the connection between text and music. I have chosen to play 3 of these chorale preludes related to Lent and the Passion of Christ. The first is O Mensch, bewein dein Sünde groß, O man, bewail thy grievous fall or thy great sin. It's in E-flat major for 2 manuals and pedal. The melody you will hear in the soprano. It is highly ornamented and very expressive for Bach. I never like it when people say Bach was not expressive. He was. Use of tone painting. He paints pictures If you listen, there are two ascending chromatic passages towards the end of the piece, suggesting Christ's slow, painful ascent up Calvary, and the very slow adagissimo, which is a term I don't see very much in music. The final cadence is expressive of Christ's head dropping upon his breast at the moment of his death. The second one is Ich rufe zu dir, Herr Jesu Christ. I cry to thee, Lord Jesus Christ, in F minor. It's for two pedals and two manuals and pedal, and it is a trio, meaning three distinct lines, no chords, no block chords. The melody, again, is in the soprano in the right hand. I'll be playing it on the upper manual or swell manual. And the left hand has a running repeated pattern of 4/16 notes on the great manual, which is the lower manual. And the pedal has a detached eighth note figure, which pretty much keeps time, and it's sort of like the throbbing of a heart. And it ends on a unison. There's no chord, no harmony at all at the end. All parts converge. And then the final piece is Christus der uns selig macht, Christ who doth us blessed make. It's in E minor and describes the arrest, mockery, and crucifixion of Christ. In this case, both hands are on the grate with full principal chorus, and Bach writes a canon, which is sort of like Row, Row, Row Your Boat. The same melody, but they come in at different times. The canon is in the octave between the soprano and the bass in the pedal. The canon begins in the soprano, and the bass enters just 2 beats later, and I will be using a reed stop so you can hear that very distinctly when it comes in. Listen for the 4 repeated notes at the beginning and again later in the melody, and it's echoed then in the pedal in this canon, like the sledges of 2 great bells. The agony of the scene is expressed by chromaticism with sharp dissonances, and it ends on a major chord. Each prelude will be introduced with the chorale itself as it might have been sung by a choir congregation. The first one is a hymn arrangement in 4 parts. The second, I'll play in unison. And the third is a harmonization from Bach's St. John's Passion, Part 1. For your meditation. By the way, I'm playing this from my first Bach book. This tattered old book. My name's even worn off of it, but it has the number of my music locker when I was a freshman at Valparaiso. But has sentimental connections. It's not a favored edition by most organ professors, but they let me use it anyway.
Good afternoon. My name is Alice Reel, and I am the organist at St. Mark's. And it is such a delight to be putting on these recitals with Chris and Karen, and we're so happy that you are here to join us. And today, after the performance, we invite you all to stay for a light lunch, as always, in the narthex. I will be concluding the recital today with Bach's Prelude and Fugue in F major, BWV 540. This was likely composed in the first half of the 18th century, and it was likely two separate works. It's found in the original sources in many different, separate and together, but they go together, they're in the same key, and they're contrasts, as I will be describing. The toccata is known for its immense size. It is the longest of all of the preludes in Bach's Prelude and Fugue collections. It begins with a round of imitative counterpoints. So you're going to hear two lines played by the hands that are echoing each other. It sounds almost like a chase. Underneath that is a pedal drone. You're going to hear an F for a very long time. At the end of that counterpoint section, it culminates in a very dramatic pedal solo. So my hands will be resting and taking a break, and my feet are going to get a workout. Bach takes that section and he repeats it in a new key, but adds on to it, of course. So the left hand will start the second round of counterpoint, and the right hand will imitate the left hand. This will also end in another dramatic pedal solo, and this time Bach is trying to show off, and he goes all the way up to a high F on the pedal board, which didn't even exist on most of the organs of Bach's day. So there's questions about what organ he wrote this piece for. So listen for that really high F. After all of this, a triumphant new theme arrives. You're going to hear a bunch of arpeggios in the hands and the feet, modulating to many different keys. This is going to alternate with three trios. So the beginning counterpoint you heard, Bach takes that melody, and then he decides, oh, I'm going to do it in three voices now. So it's going to be imitated between the right hand, the left hand, and the pedal in different orders with embellishments. It's Bach. And so after three of those fun sections, the ritornello theme that returns, the arpeggiating theme, will conclude the piece. There is a Bach scholar named Peter Williams, and he described this toccata. I thought it was a good description. He said, no scheme can convey the feeling of endless song in the toccata, as if it were spinning out continuous melody to defy analytical labels, gloriously massive. In contrast to the toccata, the fugue it's written in alla breve style or cut time. So if you look at the notation, you see a lot of half notes at first. The half note gets the beat, so it feels like it's in cut time. So it's very grand and stately, and it is a double fugue. So that means you're going to hear, so a fugue, you hear the subject introduced, and then it is introduced in several other voices. In this fugue, you're going to have the subject, and then Bach introduces the second subject in the middle. The feet get a break, the hands are going to have all the fun, and then at the end, Bach decides, I'm going to put the subjects together. So you're going to hear both of them in this grand, glorious finale. The toccata and fugue, well, the fugue itself, it's full of lots of suspensions and chromaticism, so you're going to hear a lot of tension and release, and it just builds in rhythm. The rhythm is going to get increasingly faster, and the range, it starts pretty close together at the beginning, but by the end of the piece, the feet and the hands, the notes, the pitches are going to be very spread apart. So, Bach's Prelude and Fugue in F major.